So good afternoon everyone. So this is the continuation of Module 5 Research Design. So we have the sample size. So the sample size is the number of observations or individuals included in a study or experiment. It is the number of individuals, items, or data points selected from a larger population to represent it statistically. So the sample size is simply the number of people or respondents who are the subjects in your study. So the sample size is important because it affects the findings of your study and how reliable your conclusions will be. So next we have the statistical hypothesis testing. So the statistical hypothesis testing is a method that the researchers use to decide based on the sample data. So whether there is enough evidence to support a claim or their hypothesis about a population. So it provides a structured way to test research questions scientifically. So the statistical hypothesis testing is a tool, or this is a method that the researchers use to test their hypothesis. So in short, hypothesis testing helps the researchers to move their assumption to evidence-based conclusions. So in statistical hypothesis testing is also considered the backbone of quantitative research. So helping researchers confirm or reject claims about population based on the sample evidences. So next, the errors in hypothesis testing. So all research are prone to errors, and we all know that. So in statistical hypothesis testing, there are two types of error that may occur, namely the type 1 error or the false positive, and the type 2 error or the false negative, wherein the type 1 error is rejecting the null hypothesis when it is actually true, and in the type 2 error is failing to reject the null hypothesis when it is actually false. So let me give you a simple example. So let's relate it in the current issue of flood control issue in the Philippines. So the situation goes like this. So in the ongoing investigation into the alleged corruption in flood control projects of Mr. and Mrs. Diskaya, they testified that at least 17 congressmen and DPWH officials demanded kickbacks ranging from 10 to 25% on government flood control projects. So suppose the null hypothesis is the flood control projects are involved in corruption, and the alternative hypothesis is that the flood control projects are free from corruption. So, if a subsequent investigation concludes that the flood projects are indeed free from corruption despite the allegations and evidence presented in the court, so this would constitute a type 1 error. So it means that the investigators rejected the null hypothesis, so they did not believe that the corruption exists. So, but in reality, the projects are actually corrupt given the evidences presented. So, however, they still rejected the null hypothesis. So that was the wrong decision. In the type 2 error, for example, the scenario is like, suppose the government investigates that the alleged corruption in flood control projects. So our null hypothesis will be the projects are free from corruption. And then the alternative hypothesis is that the projects are involved in corruption. Since the meaning of the type 2 errors is that failing to reject the null hypothesis, so the type 2 error in the examples that I provided will be the investigation concludes that there is no corruption in the projects even though the corruption actually exists. So in the flood control projects, missing the actual corruptions allows misuse of funds to continue, which could result in poorly executed projects and greater risk to communities. So it highlights why adequate investigation, sample size, and proper evidence collections are crucial to reduce the false negative. Next is the statistical power. So, what is the statistical power? Statistical power is the probability that a statistical test will correctly reject a false null hypothesis. So, in other words, it is the chance of detecting a real effect when it actually exists. So the statistical power measures the likelihood of avoiding a type 2 errors or the false negative. So the power is influenced by the factors such as the sample size, the effect size, and the variability within the data. So the higher power increases the chances of detecting meaningful differences in or relationship in research. So the statistical power doesn't prove anything, but it makes sure that the study is strong enough to give the researcher a fair chance to find evidence for or against their hypothesis. So next we have the regression design. So the regression is a statistical method that analyzes the relationship between a dependent variable and one or more independent variables. It helps predict or understand how changes in the independent variables are associated with the changes in the dependent variable. So the X represents the independent variable, so these are the input, the predictor, or the cause, and then the Y represents the independent variables. So the independent variables, these are the output, response, and or effect. So regression helps the researcher not just to test but to better understand their research questions by showing if there's a real and measurable relationship between variables. So in regression design, we also have to note that the regression only answers that if X changes, what happens to Y. So, and not the other way around. So let's say for example, so the X is the screen time spent daily on your phone, and Y is your eyes vision test result. So for example, X is the independent, so meaning we can control this data by either increasing or decreasing the screen time of the sample or the subject of the study to see how it really or how it will affect the Y as the independent variable. Another thing is that we have to remember that in regression, having a large number of respondents is more advantageous, as you can see how each variables affect each other. So in regression design, samples should have large variation in independent variables. It means that for what I said as an example earlier, it is better to have a large number of samples with different screen time spent daily. So this is to see whether it really affects the vision test result. So next we have the pilot survey. So a pilot survey involving a small but similar sample is often conducted to determine if the survey design and methods of data collection, for example the questionnaire, may be improved before the actual larger scale survey. So logistical and other field issues may also surface during the pilot study. So in pilot study, you can think it as a kind of testing or trial run before doing the full research. So a pilot survey is where the researchers test their survey questionnaires or data collection process on a small group before giving it to their full sample. So the researchers conduct a pilot survey because it helps them test things like, are the survey questionnaires clear? Will people understand the instructions? Is the data collection method practical? Or are there any unexpected problems? So after the pilot survey, the researchers can adjust or improve the study before launching the full-scale research. So next is the reliability and validity, which is already discussed in the previous module. So the reliability refers to the consistency of the measurement. If the collected data shows the same results after being tested using various methods and sample groups, so the information is reliable. And then the validity refers to the accuracy of the measurement. So in research, it is important to consider the type of results or responses you're gathering and generating. So these two, the reliability and validity, are essential in ensuring that your instrument can be used multiple times and are able to gather the same sets of data over time. So if you are administering the same instrument to the same sets of respondents. So for example, say you let one of your respondents to answer your survey, and he answered apple, and the next day you try again, and yet she answered grapes on the same item. So thus it means that your instrument used in gathering data are of questions on its reliability. So for how come we can trust research findings that uses an unreliable sets of instruments? So we have to take note that the unreliable instruments creates invalid results. So also for the validity, it simply means that a certain measures should be aligned to what is actually being considered for the study. So that's conclude my part in research, which is the survey. So I have indicated the additional references in case you need it. So that's it. Thank you. And if you have any questions or clarifications, additional informations, you may post it in the discussion board. Thank you.